Well, there's quite the story coming out of the UK in the last few days. Mark Kennedy, a metropolitan police officer who infiltrated and lived in deep cover for 7 years with environmental activists, seems to have switched sides. He first infiltrated with the fake identity of Mark Stone in 2003. With a fake passport, he traveled to 22 different countries, participated in almost every major demonstration in the UK, had relationships with supposedly more than one woman with this fake identity, and then was found out when some members found his passport. He quit the Met. He's expressed now remorse for what he did, saying it was wrong. He even offered to assist 6 campaigners who were due to face trial this week for conspiring to invade a power station, until the trial collapsed after allegations emerged of Kennedy acting as an agent provocateur before the demonstration. Now, there has since been a second officer who had infiltrated for 4 years who's also been outed. It's clearly not the first time that we've seen authorities express concern over environmental activists, but we do have to wonder if it's not the first time they've gone this far. And has it ever been done here in the U.S.? Here to discuss it with me is Will Potter, founder of the blog Green is the New Red. Well, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
For starters, I like this story. I mean, it just keeps getting more intricate, and now he switched sides, and now there are women coming out. I mean, which I don't like the fact that they feel like they may have been violated. But are you into this story? I mean, it's kind of exciting.
It's refreshing in a way to see, well, a couple of things. To see this cop say he's, realized the importance of the issues he was working on in a fake capacity, and now he truly believes in them, if that's true. And also is refreshing to see the judge in this case, and with the prior group of activists, he gave them very lenient sentences, time served and community service and things like that, saying he recognized the urgency of what they believed in.
He even said, I think you're decent people, which is, let's talk about this group. I mean, are they really these hardcore, extremist, radical activists, or are they just going by what judges, what other public figures, let's say Al Gore, even politicians out there also subscribe to, which is caring about climate change?
Well, in the scheme of the environmental movement, they're certainly not the most radical in terms of their tactics. And in the environmental movement, the tactics that have been most extreme haven't been very radical at all, and, compared to other social justice movements. These people were involved in nonviolent civil disobedience, doing publicity campaigns, doing stunts to raise awareness of what's going on and really the crisis facing the environment globally.
Well, people are really shocked that he could have switched sides at the end and felt bad about what he did, which, I can imagine it's got to be difficult to live your life as someone else for 7 years, and how could you not form bonds with these people? But at the same time, I mean, why wouldn't you want to be an environmental activist, right? I mean, it kind of sounds like fun. Is being an activist, a hippie, whatever you want to call it, all that bad?
Well, and we've seen some of that in the United States, too. I mean, we've had these undercover agents that have infiltrated groups, followed them around, and become, I don't know how they differentiate the two parts of their lives, because they're so enmeshed. They're involved in these groups, they're organizing protests, and it has to take a psychological toll.
Well, how many times have we seen this same thing happen in the United States?
Quite a few. I mean, in the 1960s, there was a national program called COINTELPRO that did all of these same things and worse with the so-called New Left and the American Indian Movement, anti-war groups. We're seeing the same things now. And as this story shows, we're seeing it internationally as well. So it's hard to know a specific number, but like recently on Green is the New Red, I wrote about an FBI file that revealed an undercover informant in the animal rights movement who talked about the importance of spreading gossip to disorient these activists and to make people turn against each other. So these type of tactics are nothing new.
Well, do you think, I mean, you and I have spoken a lot about the fact that, people who are opposed to fracking, who may have seen the documentary Gasland, that they are being monitored. Do we have any kind of evidence, any idea whether these people are being infiltrated as well?
In that specific case, no, but there have been dozens of examples like that around the country. For instance, the FBI, according to FBI files, tried to infiltrate PETA, the animal rights group, on multiple occasions. The same with Greenpeace, approaching interns to get them to spy on the organization, going through and working backdoor angles to spy on these groups. I mean, they've been doing that for years and years, and unfortunately it sees no sign of letting up.
I just don't understand. Do they have no one better to infiltrate? That really? Like I said, if we have public figures that are pushing for the exact same thing here, how are these people dangerous? Why do you need to infiltrate them for 7 years?
And that's the question. I mean, if it really is a global priority, at least in name, to focus on environmental issues, right? Everyone says they're an environmentalist, but at the same time, the people actually doing the work and not breaking the law or using nonviolent civil disobedience are being labeled terrorists. This investigation in the UK was through their domestic extremism division. So it's very parallel to what's going on here. The people that are working on the issues that politicians talk about are being labeled terrorists.
But why would they label it domestic extremism? Was there anything so extreme that they did? I mean, what is the most extreme thing that an environmental activist has ever done?
With these groups, no. I mean, in the environmental movement in the UK, there have been groups like the Earth Liberation Front that have used property destruction. Never harmed a human being, but they've done things, break windows and set fires, destroy bulldozers. So things like that have taken place, without a doubt. But none of these people are accused of anything like that.
Destroyed bulldozers. Sorry, that just sounds so funny. Well, definitely an interesting story, but makes you wonder how much might be going on here, too. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.